it's such a magical setting, and it's a natural pond, it's a real pond. It was man-made. The people that own the land, they dug it out, they made the pond, not necessarily for us, it was already there, but our location scouts and all that go out found this really beautiful place. And it's super special. It is extremely.
It's logistically just extraordinarily challenging. And you know when you see a scene on paper is written to be at the pond that they mean business. It's not at the pond by accident. And so those days on top of being logistically really challenging, you know it's important. Every single word that's said there, every choice to be at the pond means a lot. And so there's a pressure too to just be ready and to deliver and to make good use of your time there. It's a magical location. If it could be a phone booth or a wardrobe or anything else, it would be. Logistically it would make it much simpler, but
too easy.
It's magical. We have to.
And Evan, you joined the pond jumping crew. So how do you guys dry off? Is there a large floor dryer?
I wish.
Yeah, no, it's like a swarm, a fury of towels and the emergency blankets that you usually keep like in your car or when you go camping or anything like that. He's a sweet friend of mine. So we get wrapped. We look like
baked
potatoes. Yes. So everybody takes such great care of us on those days because it is, again, it's like usually, even if we jump in during the summertime or earlier in the season, it's got a nice little chill to it. Some people like to refer to it as refreshing.
Is it like a cold plunge?
It's towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
Okay. It sure is.
And then people are like, just 5 more seconds. You're like, well, you'll get in. Like you just want. That's what you want to say.
When the frogs don't want to be there anymore, that's when
that's when we're still there.
you're pushing it.
And Andy, Dell just doesn't think something's weird about her family being inexplicably wet at all times. She's like, it's not raining. They shower a lot. All right, guys, we're gonna kick it off with 2 clips. So we're gonna play the first 2 clips, and then we're gonna talk about them. I don't know who's watching that.
Who thinks
Very
that?
clip.
I don't
Very
think
I not cry on this show. So I have to say the mother-daughter relationships portrayed in this show are some of the most realistic. They are not actually Hallmark moments. They show actual conflict and genuine, those who have been through the ringer, I would say. So what is it like for you two portraying this, Andy and Kyler, this relationship? Because the 2 of them love each other so much, but they're at each other's throats. Is it method acting? How do you guys work together?
Funny you should say that, actually. This scene in particular, oh great, I'm gonna cry. This scene in particular was very profound for me because in so many ways this show is incredibly cathartic. It has so many similarities to Kat and to her story. And this one in particular, I haven't spoken to my mother in about 21 years. And so this hits home. These are all the things, honestly, that I wish I had heard from my own mother. And so with Andy saying those words to me, all of that was real. That you talk about that none of that was, we only did it in like 3 takes because I was exhausted. I had nothing else after that. It was just, and I had to go and excuse myself because it was really genuinely hit very close. But with Andy being there, and she's such a motherly figure for me, I needed to hear that through the mouth of somebody that I know genuinely meant it. And so it's like, as hard as it was, and as much as it hurt, it still had this amazing ability to heal that little girl that needed to hear those things. And so I have these incredible moments with Andy and with Evan and with Sadie and some of our other lovely casts that are just so authentic that I feel like I've been able to grow just like Kat has. And so for me, this one, that's why I was like, oh no, keep it together. But that also is a testament to how much we all love each other, but how grateful I am for this woman in my life.
play for you. You don't have to make us cry.
Do that to me and say.
You know, and when I was listening to it, because I didn't want to turn my neck, 'cause my neck hurts, but it's the words are beautiful. So it's a very well written scene, and it's written some other daughter team that writes this, so they know the complexity of what it is to be a mother and a daughter. I rely on so many different things when I'm doing a scene like this. I rely heavily in the belief of my character and the words written by these writers who write so well, and also my complex feelings of different things I've been through in my life. And so as I was talking about it earlier, it's muscle memory. You know these feelings, and they're in your body, and you're given the opportunity to use them as your color palette for what we do, which is acting. So there is a part of it, yes, there is method acting, because it's in your muscles, but it's also more than that. It's technique as well. It's a combination of both, and the belief in your character. The love of your character. You love your character. Your character has these feelings, and she's been through this difficult situation with her daughter that was horrible, and she left, and she doesn't know if her daughter loves her anymore. These feelings are real. She doesn't know of her daughter, or does she deserve her daughter, or what she's done to her daughter, or would her daughter have her back, and she's finally got her back, and she's discovering these things. So it's all there because you believe it, because of the writing,
So we're just all going to cry tonight. It's fine. See, how about you? You are working with like so many generations of cool women who get to play your grandmother and mother. Evan's not your family. He's not your grandmother. At least that's not the twist I've seen.
Yeah, that would be wild.
Some news outlets might disagree with you on that one because they called him his father, her father, in some of the outlets.
Stepdad. What have you learned from working with Andy and Kyler?
I love this question because I feel like I have so many things I could say, but one of the most important things is, oh my God, I don't want to cry again.
You have to cry.
Okay.
Pace yourself too, because we have a while.
This is a long one. Okay. No, I feel like one of the most important things I've learned among the acting things, but then there's just the way that it matters how you treat people, and it matters, like, you can see it in the show, you can see that emanating through the screen, and it starts with us, and it starts with people setting a good example, and I look up to you guys so much, and so the people that I look up to setting that example of kindness and care, and people who care deeply about the story and their characters and the direction we're headed in, and then all the little interactions in between, all the cast, the crew, and our audiences as well. Just all those interactions matter, and that people watching can feel that through the screen, and that it starts right from the get-go. And so that's something that I will take with me forever.
I love that.
And
I
I
feel
didn't
like
cry.
I'm doing family therapy. The Landry family. So Evan, Elliot finally is in the Jump in the Water Club, and yes. How did that feel for your character? I felt like he was really getting left out of a lot of things, just waiting for people to come out of that pond. How has that changed your experience?
When I read the script, first of all, thank you so much for being here. It's a cold night. Thank you so much for coming and showing up for the show. We love you guys. I was really thrilled when I read that Elliot was finally going to get to time travel, and I will admit that it was after a pretty incessant campaign of dropping what I thought were very subtle hints. Hints like, I'd love to time travel at any time, just in case you're wondering. So when I finally read that Elliot was going to get to go time travel, I was excited, but then the specific nature of what the travel was so important to the arc of the character, and it's something that was a payoff from the very, very beginning. And I think that we watch Elliot sort of struggle. Elliot struggles kind of through 2 seasons, and finally there's this moment that Alice has been so generous to gift Elliot with, that he gets to go back and see Colton and basically fill a void that he's been harboring, and has changed his whole way of relating. And I think that kind of gives him the ability to stand into who he always was afraid he couldn't be, I think. And that's a good thing, because I think Elliot has big shoes to fill, and there's things that he needs to be able to stand up and do. I mean, you don't just slide by with the laundry ladies, you know what I mean? You gotta stand up. And so I'm excited that Elliot gets a chance to strengthen and stand tall and do things like, I don't know, renovate a house. And maybe other things too.
And I think it was a really great way for, because poor Elliot is always having Kat just like, I gotta go, I gotta jump. And not having that experience and really understanding, he knows it from the side of what's been written. He understands that, and he always gets it secondhand and always hears these adventures and these experiences. And I think it's kind of great because you jump in the water, you have this profound experience with the father that you didn't get. And then come back, and it's almost like Kat's like,
Totally.
how did that go?
Totally.
Because now you get to see and kind of relate, and what I think is so sweet, also from after the beginning when we tell Del and explain this unbelievable story, that he's the one sitting there going, just let him go. They're gonna go, they're gonna do their thing. And poor Del's sitting over here like, how do you do this? How do you handle this? I think it's great because it kind of gives Elliot that chance to it's a teachable moment, from Elliot to Del, and it's like such a, I don't know, a collaboration of so many things leading up to such an important moment, and now a way to see it in a different light.
It's so obvious the writers care about the characters.
I feel like Kat saying I have to go should be a drinking game, because she still does it all season.
You're gonna get wasted. Or the times I kiss people, good lord.
Just kissing, kissing again. I'm not saying.
It's such a tough job, you guys.
Evan, did Sadie give you any pond jumping tips?
No.
She just let you drown.
Yeah, basically, I think it was like keep your eyes and your mouth closed because the water's opaque. It's not like, especially after the first jump, like you're not seeing through that water. All the stuff that's underwater that you see is in a pool because you're not going to see it. Like it's like the sediment comes up and it's thick, like you can chew it. You can chew the pond. That's chew the pond.
Do you know that for a fact? Did you eat pond?
Well, I had a little
yeah.
taste.
We've inhaled pond and water coming from your nose, and yeah.
It's really hard to fake. Like you just are so it's you versus the pond. It's not. You're not pretending. It's like.
And did you feel like you're missing out?
No.
So I think we know Del is not going in that pond.
I prefer looking at the pond. I think it's a lovely place, and I have some beautiful scenes at the pond. I have a lot of beautiful scenes that I think happen at the pond, but I'm happy to look at the pond.
Okay, we're going to play another clip, and this one is about, unfortunately, you're going to cry again.
Lovely human being that loves this show so much. But and he and Remy Smith, who's little Jacob, it was insane. Seeing the two of them together was the weirdest experience. Just standing next to each other, you go like, my God, it's uncanny. But yeah, kudos to, bravo to Spencer. He's phenomenal.
So Andy, what was it like playing that scene for you? It's also been a scene that's been building for so many years. Was there pressure on you for this one?
There might have been. I don't know. It's just how I go about things. If I know who the character is, if I'm really sure about who I am, when they say action, I'll do what I'm supposed to do. So for me, it's always character driven. Me understanding who I am. And then I know what to do in the moment, and I don't even think about it. I just don't think about it.
Yeah.
I just do it. They say action, and it happens. That's the way it works for me.
I love acting. Do you like the pond? I don't need to be in it. Do you like acting? I act when I say action.
It really is. That's what it is. As long as I know who the character is, it'll happen. It just,
I mean, that's such a genuine moment, and you just did that so beautifully. I think we have some clips you won't cry at, but we'll see. So, Andy, what is it like working with Spencer? How did you guys make him feel part of the family?
Oh, well, he's easy to like, you know, he's lovely, and he really cares so deeply about what he's doing. You could tell he's, you know, that he really wants to do a good job. And I like his choices. I think he's made some really interesting, offbeat kind of choices, and I think they're endearing, and I like watching what he does and the choices that he makes. So, and it's interesting, because of where he came from, and going back in time, he needed to make some interesting choices, and I think he's made some great choices.
Did you want to add something, Sadie?
Oh, I was just going to say that I was going to ask Kyler to tell the story of the first time she met Spencer, because it was certainly making him part of the family right away.
So day one of Spencer coming on set, I hadn't met Spencer yet. I had seen a picture of him and heard that he was just fantastic, and so I hadn't met him. And like you were saying, it's like even, with season 2, after this whole long journey, it's like we take this show very, to heart. And just because of what we had experienced together and the journey for Kat, whatnot. So we have this day, and we are at a grind because we only have so many hours of daylight. And so, and we had this massive sequence that we had to do on the beach in the water, and it's the day where Jacob comes in on the boat, and he's rowing in, and then he gets, apprehended by the British soldiers that come, and we've got the horse that's running, we've got 3 cameras that are going all at once, I get knocked into the water, and it was wild what we had. And so for a first day was like, welcome to the way home. but the moment, so I'm sitting in the makeup and hair trailer, and we have such long days, and you're exhausted when you first get there. It's just kind of like everybody's got their eye patches on, and everybody's just kind of sitting there like, hey, how are ya? And
no accents.
We all know, from New York.
You made it sound like you guys are pirates.
Yeah. So I'm sitting, on one side of the trailer, and I'm just kind of like half awake, and I've got my eye patches on, and I'm getting my hair done. I look like a hot mess. And then all of a sudden, across the trailer on the other side, this man walks up, and he's in full 1800s garb, and there were several people that were there in that. But I just looked up, and there's just something kind of like my spidey senses were going off, and I look over, and I look at him, and I jokingly go, oh, look, we found Jacob. And it hit me so, to my core, I started sobbing. No joke, my eye patches were falling off of my face. I'm sobbing, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, this is his first day. I'm like, I
even said, hi, I'm Kyler.
I look like a maniac. Just sitting there, just like, it's okay. We've just been looking for you for a really long time. This poor dude, and but he walked in and he just nailed it, knocked it right out of the park, and was such a team player. Because, like I said, it was such a wonderfully orchestrated chaos that day, and that was also the same day that you and Sam run into the water and somebody is looking away. It was a big day for that beach, I'll tell you. She's all locked that day. But it was just wonderful, and it kind of again, a testament to Spencer just being a really good sport on day one when he could have been absolutely terrified.
I love that. And I also love, Kyler, that in the last 25 minutes you cried for maybe 20 of them. So when you said it and I cried, I was like, that tracks.
Yeah.
So that was a great segue, Andy. This show really does such a great job of portraying different generations, different points in your life in such an authentic way. And for you in particular, I personally love that we get to see you entering a relationship and aging with this sort of beauty. There's like real beauty in it. What is it like for you to portray this character at this age? And like, she's having to face challenges. Usually we only see young love portrayed on television. And it's very unique what your show does. How is that for you?
Well, it's important to me to give women a vision of someone that is not just a granny, you know? I mean, I love being a grandmother. I'm a grandmother. I'm not putting that down, but that has all the different colors of her life, because we don't just stop living as we age. We still have heart, and we have soul, and we have strength, and we have power. So very multi-dimensional people. So I love that you get to see her move on and to have love in her life. And actually, you know, I thought about it later, because, you know, when they do Wing Calls the Heart love scenes, they touch hands behind the back, and I was like, I don't know, you know, especially at my age, I'm in the barn. You know? And my daughter finds the bottle in the barn, you know, and we did. They trim it pretty good, but we're not that provocative. But still, we're not just touching hands. I know.
It's not like that beach herd.
Yeah. So we do push it a little bit, but it's nice to see a mature woman enjoying herself and having
So,
a good time.
what would your dating advice be to Del?
No, she needs to get more men in that town, I guess. Yeah, it seems like not a lot of people. So, I don't know. I honestly know. I love truly for Del. I think it's always going to be hard, because look what she had. She had Colton, and it was such a special relationship. My favorite part for my character, in all honesty, is episode 9 in season 1. Colton comes back to me as a sort of fantasy, but it feels very real to her, and it's questionable to what it is. And so it was such a beautiful scene. It was very profound, and I was thankful that the writers continued to bring Colton back in that way, because I feel like it reveals the truest part of Del, which is lonely. She's lonely, and she misses him, and she's lost, and she worries, and she thinks, and she's deep. And that's how you see that side of her. Is every time that Colton is there, you see Del's truest character. I don't know that she is being her most honest self, honestly, with Sam. I think she's lonely and she's looking at something, but I feel like you see her true heart when she's with her mirage of Colton.
I feel like she's kind of in a love triangle with a ghost. Like, no, I'm serious.
Can you blame
I
her?
don't. I think it's her most honest feelings, her deepest, most honest feelings of how she feels about the world, her greatest fears, her everything. It's her. That's where you see her.
What do you think the dating advice Del would have for you would be?
For me?
Yeah. That's the reason I'm asking.
Strip down and run in the water.
I'll tell you this. So last year, Andy and I talked, and I think the question was, what are your thoughts on dating? And she's like, what's the point of dating? And I loved it so much, so I just need to know.
I think if it's right for you, I just am not desperate for it. My life is so full. I just had a new grandbaby. I'm about to have another grandbaby. I'm having 3 grandbabies. I have a lot of wonderful friends. If it came into my life, I would take it. I just don't need to hunt for it. I'm very satisfied with my life. I don't feel like anything's missing for me.
Yeah.
But I'm different. I'm not Del. That's me.
I think she should have a dating show where she just tells us don't date.
No, I think if you're missing it, date. I think there are a lot of people that need it. They need it. They desire it. They want it. I feel so content. I don't feel that anything is missing from my life.
I love that.
Amen.
Another question, Kyler said the scene on the beach. Has there been a scene that you've done that's very out of your comfort zone on this show? This is a question for all of you.
I wasn't very comfortable doing that scene, but I did it. And I liked the choice that I made, and we only shot it once. It was one take. And they know I love that.
Yeah.
So they offered it to me, and the director, Grant, said, you'll do it. We just have to do it once. I said, sounds good to me. So a one take wonder, and to me it was hysterical. Because the actor that plays Sam was going in very gingerly, and I thought to myself, that is not going to happen with me, baby. And I think he thought I was going to run up to him. I was like, that ain't happening either.
He offered his hand.
I just kept going. Because she wasn't going in for him. No. She was going in for herself. It was all about freedom, and her son disappeared in that water, And it was the relationship, it was letting go of all the pain that she's been through and the loss and the tragedy. It was all for her. She wasn't running in the pond for him. She did it for herself.
Poor Sam.
I don't know. Sam seems pretty tough.
Yeah, he does.
And Rob, who plays Sam, is such a cool dude. Like, he is cool as a cucumber, and like, it is just, he's had a lot of fun with us crazies, just sitting being obnoxious and getting yelled at for being too rowdy.
He has to show up to family dinners and be the boyfriend and make a good impression, both like sort of on camera and in real life, and so he does it with so much grace. It's very sweet.
I love it. All right, let's talk about sex and relationships and all that stuff. You ready?
That kind of panel.
Sorry, that was a hard pivot.
That kind of
All right.
panel.
So you two, the Finally Couple Award. Finally you're a couple. How have you been feeling about this? Guys, how was it finally getting to this moment?
Sex.
I don't know, you said it.
I know, I'm so sorry. I mentioned that much more gently and it did not come
No,
out.
we just went straight for it. It's great. Shoot me straight.
Why waste time?
No.
There are children in the audience.
How to answer that question?
Did you guys feel pressure, because they've been the will they, won't they for so long? Did you feel pressure when you finally got together?
No.
It's really fun. Go ahead.
No, you had
It's
a
really
lot.
fun to play the will they, won't they. I actually never felt like we were playing will they, won't they. We were playing very specific contexts. And neither of these characters are people that are ready to just run right into a relationship. And the question is, are they now? And we want to tell a story where it has to be earned, I think. And both Kyler and I, from day one, we've had such a good time working with each other. We're like a couple of little kids, and we always read each other's minds. It happened 3 times today. Mm-hmm. It's spooky, and I try not to think about my bank pin.
Too late. I'll give you that 20 back.
No, it's a show that the writers really care about the characters, and it really helps us care about the characters even more. And we're already people who care deeply about what we do. I think I can speak for all of us. And so now that we're given an opportunity to kind of lean into it, I'm excited. And also, I'm not expecting it to be simple. It's not even chasing Jacob for 2 years, and then he walks in the door, and normally that's when the credits would roll, right? But the show's not over, the story's not done, because that's not the kind of story we're telling. And so there's always the next thing, and the more the story goes, the deeper we go into the characters, and the more we learn. And it's a time travel show, so it also goes deep in time, and it just gets more complex. And you like it, right? You're here,
But also, we trust each other, so we're not afraid to take risks. And that's a really great gift that we all have. We're all, not to be but we're all, thank you, baby. We're very generous with one another because we do care about telling the story, of course, but we also care about each other. And so you want to, it's so nice to hear, and especially to be a part of a cast or crew and the whole thing, when you have people who genuinely want to see somebody win. Like, you want to see your scene partner win. You want to see them nail it. You want to do whatever you can, especially when the camera's on them and it's their coverage. You know, a lot of people in the industry, and I've experienced it, will half-ass their performance. And I know sometimes you have to save it, right? You can't go 110% every single take. But when you're willing to do that, that's extraordinary. That's when you know that you're working with people who are meant to do what they're doing. And so with all of us, but in these scenes, Evan and I, it just doesn't, it feels like, I'm trying to think of the right way to say it. Safe. It feels safe. And we know that we can trust each other to try something, and if it doesn't work, we can both look at each other without a word go, nah.
Like, safe to try something dangerous.
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. Yeah, to spill the milk.
What does that even mean?
I thought you guys read each other's minds. You should know.
He knows, he's just being coy.
He's being coy.
Okay, let's talk about the Thomas of it all. Kyler, you have chemistry in every time period. What the hell? So what do you feel about, how do you feel about Thomas? How do you feel about this situation?
Girl, I didn't write the script. I think that Thomas has definite qualities. He's got a gun. He's got a trench coat. He's got a 6 or 8 or 10 pack. Dude can probably sit up really quickly. So, I mean, I will put those in his category. But also,
He said on his resume, I can sit up quick.
he's technically dead. So, there's considerations. But it's a time travel show, so nothing's ever written out. But I think that I really love to see the different parts of Cat that come out. And I think through the dichotomy between Elliot and Thomas, it really begs this question about, are we in our lives trying to go for the thing that we think is the departure from our life that is going to be better than our life or different than our life? Or are we going to try to figure out the thing that is in our life at the moment? And in this show, it's not a given. Sometimes in our lives, in our real lives, when it's not a time travel show, you just play the hand that was dealt you. But for some reason, in this show, we have the opportunity to put in a different hand. And it's really exciting. And I'm not going to say how it should be, but I'm ready to see how it goes.
Well said, sir.
Lady?
Very good.
That's very good. I personally like how he's like, he's dead.
All the big stuff after.
We've had, like, it's actually funny, you had to address it. I saw your response to somebody because somebody kind of hit you hard on Twitter, Twitter, that about your responses, but being kind of snide and whatnot towards the idea. It's just like, it's fun, it's play.
We're just having a good time.
They're having a good time, and he's got his theories, and he's got, you know, we play along. It's like, oh, that Thomas guy. Every time someone says the name, I'm like, because I know what it's going to do. But he did say something, and someone was like, how can you be so rude? Like, if you knew me, you'd know. So.
We love Thomas. He's a great character.
Oh, Chris Holden Reed, too. He's fantastic.
Kyler, who would you pick for her?
Oh my God!
How dare you?
Katie, I'm coming to you next.
I'm scared.
How about Susanna?
Yes!
Alright, I'm just gonna say I think she can date him both times.
I mean, look, you know,
Yeah.
that's what she's doing, yeah. She's living it up, you know?
Don't need
Might as well.
men, you have men in every time period, I think it's fine.
No joke.
Yeah.
There's got to be some sort of statute of limitations there.
He's dead. Remember?
Okay, Noah and Sadie. Sadie.
What?
We got news. Noah and Alice. Is it just me, or do Noah and Brady have a similarity to them? Am I the only one? Am I alone?
No.
No, I'm not alone. Kyler just gave me
I thought that.
Oh, you got it, okay.
You know what's really funny? Oh, sorry. Please, as the mom, you should speak.
I was probably going to say something very different. We were doing a table read, and not everybody can be there to read the script aloud in person, because sometimes people have other things they're doing, so they'll Zoom in. So we'll have them in, not Zoom in, like, sorry. Anyways, he was on Zoom, and it was Alex who plays Noah, and I thought it was Al who plays Brady, because he was, anyway, I won't spoil.
Yeah.
But Alex is sitting there, and I'm like, oh, hi, Al, been a long time, and he's like, I was like, I'm an asshole, I'm so sorry, it's not you.
I think there's something to be said for where Alice is at in her life. You know, she's really wanting to be focused in the present, and then maybe even more into the future. She really wants to focus on school and like her grades and sort of leave time travel in the past. We all know that's not realistic, because then she gets the prophecy that she's on a recording from 1974 and she has to get back in the pond. But basically, I think that the part of her that went to visit Brady and decided to come back with this plan to stay in the present and look towards her future is the same girl who wants a boyfriend who knows nothing about time travel. Mm-hmm. She just, like, I don't think any of us can deny the chemistry between Alice and Nick and that beautiful first love story and what it feels like to be in love for the first time. But I think now she's like, okay, you know what? Keep the pond out of this. I want to be a regular teenager. I want to have regular boy problems. And I don't want everything I say to be in the context of the pond. And I think there's a freedom there for her that she also has with Brady, I guess. I don't know. He doesn't know about this pond. He's free from the knowledge of time travel, and I think that normal teenager life is something she sort of needs right now, which I don't know if she's gonna get.
I like that, a pondless boyfriend.
Yeah.
So what would your dating advice be for her?
Oh my god. I was gonna say stop lying about the pond, but then I'm like, if you tell him about the pond that he's not a pondless boyfriend, then he's in it with you. I would say, I think for Alice, that she needs a little pond life balance, and that's going to be what she needs to work on in her relationships. I think some of us it's work life, and some of us it's pond life, and that's where my girl Alice needs to work.
Yeah,
on
I think that's great advice. See, you get to sing a lot in the show, and it's so beautiful, and it's one of my favorite parts of the show. So I have a question for all of you. What about The Way Home, a musical episode? Who would actually do it? You can just raise your hand, or you can give me a dirty look like Andy just did. Would you do a musical episode?
I've sang in a movie before. They would just have to pick the right song. They had some idea that I was going to sing this song, and they gave it to me. I was like, I don't know how to sing that song. I mean, it would have to be something that I could sing, but I would do it. It's not going to happen. It's all a fantasy. So
No, maybe if we jump in the pond.
All over again.
I think we should dance too.
Oh,
I think we should dance and
Dance.
No, you lost me. You lost me.
Every time they make us dance in the show, I'm living my real nightmare.
Okay, you guys ready for another clip?
Yeah.
All right.
Are we gonna cry?
Okay, that scene could also be like how Cal Landry gets murdered and like that.
Oh,
that
yeah,
was
yeah, that could've gone dark real quick.
I was like, oh, should she be doing that? But you know, Flower Man. What's that?
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? Okay, so that's a magical moment, and I have to ask, like, if for some reason we find out in the future that Dell can go ponding, and she runs into a young Colton, what do you think she would say to him? Or do you think she would not say anything?
Are you asking me?
I sure am. You want me to come back? I can come back.
I think ask somebody outside.
All right. What do you think Dell would say to him? Do you think Dell would have any reaction, or would she not want to mess with history? Because one thing I have to say is, you two are out there sort of messing with history, right?
I know, right?
What happens will always happen. There's nothing we can do to change things, but we are gonna get right in there
Yeah.
and find our part.
Could
in
not
that
jump in the
situation.
pond. That's one thing.
I don't know. It calls to us in a way that I don't know if we can help.
Not much of a show.
And then they don't jump in the pond. Wait, but seriously, like, if Dell, for some reason, we figure out that she can do this, do you think she would say something to Colton? Young Colton?
There's something to be said, I think, this season for Alice and Dell about Dell's protectiveness over her memories and the way they were for her and that time in her life and all the different, the details, the way she remembers them, and then Alice comes in and disturbs all of that. And so there's part of me that feels like Dell might know better than to sort of get in there in the way that Alice does, and it's something that Kat and Alice can't help but do. I think there's a lot of like maturity and like, you know, a sense of being responsible for the other people in the situation, but also knowing like your own emotional limits of like maybe you just need to see it happen and not put yourself through that, because when you open that can of worms, like it's painful. It can be really painful. We've seen that with Kat and Alice time and time again, how much every time they get involved, it hurts them to a certain degree.
I didn't like the question. I'll tell you. I didn't like the question. That's why I don't want to answer it. I don't like it. I don't like that question.
Okay.
And I'm not answering it.
I'm not
gonna
gonna
let
answer
them.
it.
They're talking about my character. I don't like the question.
No. That's what I wanted to know from them, because they're two
It's
characters.
my character.
Yeah, I
I
know.
don't like the question.
All right, we're gonna unask it. How long are you gonna be mad at me for?
I'm not mad, but it's a sensitive area.
It is a sensitive area.
Very sensitive.
That's what I wanted to
And
know.
it didn't.
I'm not
it.
spoiling the stuff.
I don't like it.
There is
I
a
don't like the
moment.
question.
There is a moment where Dell has this energy with, you know, when she feels like people are getting into her memories, and that I think is really powerful. I don't want to be in the scene.
That's a different question.
That is. Oh no, I'm still in trouble. Okay, so Elliot and Alice's friendship is like one of the best ones on the show. So let's watch this last clip. Any other character? Do you guys feel that way?
Definitely.
They have known each other like in a way that like none of the other characters have been able to be as open about some of the, like Elliot living through the prophecy or Alice living with this responsibility of knowing she can time travel. It's not something she's been able to share openly with anyone else since the get-go. She obviously, things change now that Dell knows about the pond, and she told Kat like maybe halfway through season 1, but yeah, it's just a different sort of friendship. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I think like Alice and Kat as teens were really close and had like this sisterly relationship, but Alice was still confiding in Elliot, and I think that there's a really interesting power kind of dynamic, because Elliot is the one who always historically has sort of had some answers, and she will come to him for advice and things, but also kind of at 16 she kind of ruined Elliot's life. And then in the present day she kind of saved his life. You know what I mean? She kind of like gave him his whole life back. And so I think that on both sides there's a lot of vulnerability there, and we've been through it. So
Yeah, but just this season too, like Elliot doesn't have that responsibility to hold all the knowledge of Alice's trips anymore, because she's been to she is going to 74 and Elliot was not there. And so there's sort of this change in their relationship now where Kat and Elliot are getting more serious, and Alice is no longer sort of going to Elliot for every detail of her life. And so they have to sort of figure out, okay, if you're not the same mentor to me, how do we still, like, you know, need each other and not just ditch that friendship that we've had since Elliot was 16 and Alice was also 16, but anyway, it's complicated. It's hard to work out in my mind, but yeah, it feels like a long time for
I would
Alice
say
too.
don't think about the time travel. Don't do the math, because it gets confusing. Okay, so we're at the end here, so we can end it in two ways. One is a time travel game, a trivia game with just 3 questions, and you get to be partners, so you're not going to be alone.
I choose Evan.
Oh, that's so great, because he's right next to you, and now those are the team. So here's the thing, the team, you two are a team, and when I ask the question, you have to raise your hand, or you can make an audible sound effect. You can make an audible sound effect like boop, if you want to answer first. Okay, and then you have 30 seconds with your partner to figure out the answer. It's so simple. I'm going to help you. Don't
so it's whoever comes up with the answer first.
Okay, it's really simple. So, okay, you ready? These are all from the 80s and 90s, you know, where you guys are traveling to and from. Whose song includes the lyrics from this 1989 song? If I could reach the stars, I'd give them all to you. Then you'd love me like you used to do. If I could turn back time.
There's
She's saying.
Ow.
I think they got it.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought we were supposed to make a sound effect.
You were, but when Andy
I did.
That was chair. Make you make a sound effect.
Chair.
Okay.
I think she said chair, honestly.
I did not.
Yeah.
Starts with CH.
Let's just play the game.
Yeah, let's play the game. Okay. In the movie Back to the Future, Michael J. Fox's character runs into a girl who falls in love with him. Why is this the worst news ever for him? And who plays that?
Oh,
And who plays that character?
because it's his mom and Sally Field.
No.
Yeah.
Lee Thompson.
Yes. Yes. Do you each get a point? No, you don't.
I do.
Yeah. All right, the final one.
I'm sorry, I picked you because I thought you'd know the answer.
And Leah Thompson is on Chicken Sisters.
Yeah.
There you go.
Shout out Hallmark.
Hall fam.
Sally Field was great though.
So she is a wonderful actress, but not at all related. So the losing team, this is the last question, gets to dare the other team to do something.
Oh boy.
Just anything. It could be a dance, it could be a song, it could be whatever you want.
I don't want to do anything that. Yeah.
You're
upset, yeah.
You're gonna go into
anything weird.
Yeah, don't do anything that will upset and look bad on camera, okay? In the 1990 movie, there's a two-parter. In
I know
the,
what I hope they lose.
Okay. In the 1990 movie Ghost, who played the role of the killer who killed Patrick Swayze's character? And what show did that actor go on to star in as the President of the United States? Tyler?
Zippoo. I can't remember his name.
So what did he go on to play?
Nick and I.
Yeah, you can try and get a half point.
I don't remember that part.
How to Get Away with Murder?
Close. Close. Same Shonda fam.
Whitney Shonda.
Scandal.
Scandal. Okay.
Oh.
Does anyone, you two, like, literally are not good at this.
I
Other
knew.
things.
You said game, and I have that thing where I'm like, like when you explain the
Tony
rules.
Goldwyn.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know
Guess
I
what?
will lose. Whatever.
Andy and Kyler just won. So what are you gonna do?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. What can they say?
Can you-
Y'all need to sing a little bit.
We need to sing.
You need to
You
sing.
need to sing.
Yeah. Oh, this is good.
What do y'all want to sing? What are we going to
Well,
sing?
okay, so a duet. Let's see, something.
What's the song that y'all are saying that Evan sings? Do you know that song?
Time after time.
Time after time? Do you know it? Can you pull up the words on your phone?
This is a dream and you
Okay, wait. I'll sing with you. You just sing.
Or how about you sing a couple lines from Time After Time, and you sing a couple lines from Colton's song.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I think Colton's song is great. It's great.
I think
Do you know the
Colton's
words?
song?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
do that
Do that.
From the
Do that.
beginning.
Do
Y'all
that.
join in.
Oh God. Okay.
Sadie, are you
Guys,
okay?
sing with me. Does anyone know the words, please? Ready?
You sing too.
And my heart is pounding. Okay. That's really high. Love your eyes, how they give me a